Hey, it's the Western Nomad, guys. Welcome back to my Pacific Northwest road trip. On this episode, we're exploring the city of Boise, Idaho. And let me tell you, a lot of people are moving out here. We're going to see if it's still a good place to live. We're going to talk to the locals, explore a little bit, and see what's going on with Boise, Idaho. Now, driving into this town, I was like, nothing too special, just a rural town in the middle of nowhere. But as I kept driving and I got to the city center, I start to realize, hey, this really is a nice downtown, very clean, not many homeless people. It's just a very nice, clean environment. I think one of the things that surprised me about Boise was just how gentrified, in my mind, I think it's become. Now, given I've never been here before, but just having this idea of what Boise, Idaho would look like, I really didn't expect it to be this fancy in terms of the downtown with all the coffee shops and fancy restaurants and the traffic and the high-rise or low-rise apartment buildings they're building there. It was just weird to see because it's such a isolated city.
I live close to here, so for me, it's I don't have to worry about the traffic too much. But for those out-of-towners, they always talk about how the traffic is kind of a pain. But when you have seen the change, like you've seen, like Boise used to be 2 lanes coming in from either direction, and now it's 4 going both ways. And so it's like it's kind of you're playing like road roulette when you're trying to get to downtown, but I live in town, so I don't have to do that too much. So it's not too bad. Outside of that, we have a small college. It's a 25,000 students, but it's a small college.
What's the college called?
Boise State.
Boise State.
Yep.
Okay. Now you said like the change, or like people started coming here and gentrifying it like around 96. You said
About 95, 96, yeah.
I've read like Boise's like the hottest place to move to now.
For a while it was the number 1 city to move to for like 3-4 years. So I think that's changed. We're probably still in like top 10, but I think the whole, I guess the vibe to move to Boise is sort of dying down, which is fine, but we still have a lot of folks that are moving in because places are cheaper here than they are from where they're coming from.
But they all come from California.
A lot of them, yeah. A lot of them come from there, and it's basically like the rent is cheaper there, so they'll come here, which is problematic for us because my rent can't keep up with the demand. And so when I first moved back, because yes, I was born here, but I moved back in 2012. And when I got my first apartment, that was 2016, I was paying $730, a month. Now that same apartment will cost you $1,400.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you can't keep up with that.
Right, and like the people who keep the town running, like yourself and many others, potentially are going to get priced out. And then it's like, where would you go if you had to move?
Well, I've looked at options. There's places in the Midwest because nobody wants to live where it's really cold. So I've seen apartments out there that are like 2-bedroom apartments for like $1,000. So that's again $500 less than what I'm paying for here. And so it's
right.
It's
you lose the outdoors, right? Like, what do you think the draw is? Just
here?
Outdoors, the small town, like it's
Boise's not so much a small town, and the valley itself, the Treasure Valley, used to be a lot smaller than what it looks now. So 20, 30 years ago, Meridian, you couldn't, like I said, you couldn't see it from the highway. It was kind of tucked away, but now Meridian crosses the highway, and it's just a blob between here and like Caldwell, Nampa, whatnot. But Meridian used to have only like 20,000 people, nothing. Now it has 100,000. Nampa, same thing, but Caldwell is the one that kind of hasn't really grown that much, but it's changing, so it's really, but I don't know if it's just the cheaper rent or maybe the weather, but there is a lot of outdoor activities here, so that's the draw. But
what's the best place to fish here?
Anywhere in the mountains, honestly. You can find a lake, the river, anywhere, honestly.
So I was wondering, what I should do here in Boise on like my second day, so I decided to go to the Old Idaho State Penitentiary, which is just outside the downtown, and it was really cool. It kind of really was like this old-time outlaw jail. Kind of reminded me of Alcatraz a little bit, and I highly recommend it. Some famous people were housed here. One of the most notorious was Harry Orchard, the assassin who confessed to killing former Idaho Governor Frank Studenberg in 1905, which was a political murder that shocked the nation. Then there was Lida Southard, Idaho's own Lady Bluebeard, accused of poisoning multiple husbands for insurance money. That's fun. And Raymond Snowden, chillingly nicknamed the Idaho Jack the Ripper, whose execution in 1957 became one of the most infamous in state history. Inmates slept in tiny, sweltering cells with little ventilation during Idaho's hot summers, and freezing stone walls in the winter. They ate in communal dining halls, worked in the prison's gardens, the shoe shops, and the shirt factory, and endured strict discipline under the watchful eyes of armed guards in looming towers. So this is not a place you would want to be back in the day. This is Idaho, and it's a law and order state. They don't take too kindly to criminals. So there's this little museum in one of the penitentiary rooms here, where they converted it into a museum, and they have all this World War II stuff with like cool guns and German guns, American guns, Medal of Honor, Purple Heart. So it's really like a cool American history museum about war within the jail, which was cool. So come out here, spend an hour or two exploring the place. It's worth it. So after spending a couple days in Boise, I was really just trying to contemplate why this is such a hot spot to move to. And I guess it's just because there's plenty of outdoor activity and has a very clean downtown. Boise and Salt Lake are very similar looking cities to some degree. They're both pretty arid environments in the summer. But they're just really pleasant places, and I enjoyed my time in Boise, but I also at the same time thought it was somewhat boring. It's kind of far away from like northern Idaho, where a lot of the mountain action is. But I didn't spend enough time here exploring, so let me know what you guys like about living in Boise, or what you don't like, and do you think this is still a good place to move to? I would love to hear your thoughts. Well, that wraps up my time here in Boise. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to my channel, and I appreciate all the support.